BookTube, it's Janet and I am finally back. I've really missed being part of the BookTube community the last few weeks. I've been unwell, I've had food poisoning, I've had a cold that refuses to shift and you can possibly still hear it in my voice, and with that horrible dry cough that won't go away. I've had a car accident, I've had a job interview and got a new job. I've been on a secondment which I've absolutely loved and has been really rewarding, but has demanded an incredible amount of my time and hours, and so I have just had to, some things have just had to slide in my life. I've done some reading, but nowhere near the amount of reading that I love to do and that I like to do. But what I have been doing is, in all that time I've had a birthday and I've done some book shopping as well. Yeah, my resolution for not buying has kind of gone out the window, because I think while I've not been reading, I've still needed to have that connection with books. So what I'm going to do is start today with the beginning of a Mahoosive book haul. I don't show you it looks quite tidy behind here, but if you go lower and look around the floor, there are boxes and boxes and stacks of books everywhere. So I'm just going to start, keep going, see how long it goes. There may be more than one of these videos. I hope you don't mind. If you're anything like me, you actually love a book haul. It's my favourite type of video. So I'll just crack on at random. They're just all in piles everywhere, because what I do is they don't go on my shelf until I've hauled them, because I have to show you first. So first up is a non-fiction book, and this is Past Mortems by Carla Valentine, and this is basically the memoir of a mortician and what it's like to work in a mortuary. Have read this one already actually, and I'll tell you more about it in my wrap up. The one I've got, again, another non-fiction, and this is sort of linked in with some of the courses, and because on top of everything else, yes, I've actually been doing some courses and some studying as well. And this is Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. So in it, it's sort of like how emotional intelligence is probably more important than IQ. I have got The Trail of Broken Wings by Sejal Badani, and that cover, if you can see it, is gorgeous with the little birds on it. With their father in a coma, three estranged sisters come together, each carrying deep wounds and dark secrets. And just give you a quick brief overview of each of the books, because there's so many, otherwise I'll be there forever. Again, another book on emotional intelligence, and this is Emotional Agility by Susan David, and this is getting stuck, embrace change and thrive in work and life, and I think that's something great for us all to live by. It's a bit difficult to get some of the books out at the moment because my cat Nigel has now decided to sit on the pile. I think this is one of my birthday presents, and this is another non-fiction book, and this is by Nicola Tallis, Elizabeth's rival, and it's The Tumultuous Tale of Lettice Knollys, Countess of Leicester. I absolutely love history, in particular the Tudors, but just look at that book. That is hardback. So, and look, can you see the gold? So I will enjoy reading that one. This book was bought for me by my son, and with the previous book on the morticians, you might sort of notice kind of interested in death and dying and death rituals and funerals and graveyards. A bit weird. So my son got me 199 Cemeteries to See Before You Die by Lauren Rhodes. Absolutely love walking around cemeteries. I love the peace in a cemetery. I love the sense of reverence you get in a cemetery. I love the quiet. I love the way it has so much history, social history. So I find it fascinating. So this is a great one. They're all over the world, so I don't know how many I'll actually get to see, but I'll definitely do my best. The next one I've got is Beast Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi. Can you see the cover on that one? This is YA. Every time it feels like it'll last forever. The sorrow that rakes my skin, the guilt that grips my mind, the cold that pierces my bones. I want to cry out, but my throat is full of sin. The moment stretches out like a piece of rubber being pulled and pulled and pulled until it finally snaps. I got the second one in the Lady Sherlock series, and this is A Conspiracy in Belgravia by Sherry Thomas. I've got the first one somewhere as well, and I'll show you that one when I finally get to it. But these were recommended by Louise from the Big Head Bookworm, and they are a bit of cosy crime where our heroine is basically Sherlock Holmes, but it's a woman. So I thought that's just my kind of thing, and it's like one of them lovely floppy books. Next I've got Artemis by Andy Weir, and this is sci-fi and The Martian was one of my absolute favourite books of last year, and so this is the second book that Andy Weir has written, so obviously I had to have it. Again, just look at that cover. Then I've got The Mitford Murders by Jessica Fellowes. I think it's like a cosy crime detective kind of, where the famous Mitford sisters are the detectives. It says Christmas 1919, when Florence Nightingale's goddaughter is murdered on a train, maid Louisa Cannon and eldest Mitford sister Nancy find themselves entangled in the crimes of a killer who will do anything to hide their secret. So I love books like this, and I'm quite fascinated by the Mitford sisters as well. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. Put all these away to wait for when I got time to do a book haul. So as I'm going through them all now, it's kind of like my birthday all over again, because I'd forgotten what I had. Again, we're on the history theme, and this is the second in Alison Weir's Six Wives of Henry VIII series, and this is The Six Tudor Queens, and this is Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession. And Alison Weir is a very well-known historian. She writes both fiction and non-fiction. This is a fictional account of Anne Boleyn. You get a really skilled historian writing in a fictional way about the life of a real character, because I think it makes the history so much more alive, and because you see it through the eyes of a character, and it's so much more meaningful, I think, than if you just read a straightforward textbook. I've just found, and you do just prepare to die at the gorgeousness of this cover, and this is the latest Philippa Gregory book, who again writes a lot of Tudor history and Plantagenet history books, and this is The Last Tudor by Philippa Gregory. Look at that. Can you see the gold Tower of London in the back and the beautiful black raven on the front? Absolutely stunning, and it carries on the back. This is about Lady Jane Grey. Just found a graphic novel in there as well, and this is the first volume of Gotham Academy by Becky Cloonan. Next I've got Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Sean Ann Maguire. This is the second book to Every Heart a Doorway, which I think is again in another box somewhere. Heard great things about this series, so I'm not going to read the back because it's obviously number 2. Next, I've just found 3 books in here, and these are by Barbara Comyns, and this is Sisters by a River, Our Spoons Came from Woolworths, and The Vet's Daughter. These seem to be books that are set in the 20s and 30s. I'm not entirely sure what they're about, but they look a little bit along the lines of potentially a little bit like Barbara Pym's stuff, which I absolutely love, so that's a nice surprise to find them again in my box. And then next I've got 3 books by Angela Thirkell, and that is High Rising, and look, that's perfect for this time of year. Look at the snow. We've got Wild Strawberries, and again I think these look quite similar to the Barbara Comyns time. I'm obviously in that kind of frame of mind when I was doing my birthday wish list. And Pomfret Towers, and if you just look at the outfits on those ladies, they're beautiful. And then I've got a trilogy by Jo Walton. Can't remember what order they come in, but it's Farthing, Halfpenny and Half a Crown, and I think these are thrillers set in the 60s, but I know Jo Walton does a lot of sci-fi as well, but I'm not entirely sure if it's just straightforward thrillers or if there's some sci-fi in there as well. I'll let you know when I read them. The last 3 in this box, there are more boxes to come, are 3 by Rhys Bowen, and this is about Molly. This is the Molly Murphy detective series. I think she's sort of like a bit of a Miss Marple type, but a young one. And this is Murphy's Law, so it's like a Molly Murphy mystery. They all look fabulous. Death of Riley, again, just look at the covers. They're so stunning. And For the Love of Mike. What is in box number 2? Okay, so the first one I've got to show you is, this is a YA book, and this is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. On September the 5th, a little after midnight, Death Cast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Ametrio to give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news, there's an app for that. It's called The Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last adventure to live a lifetime in a single day. The next one is a crime thriller, and this is Perfect Remains by Helen Field. This is set in Scotland, and I love anything that's set in sort of remote places. So it's set in the Scottish Highlands, and it says, on a remote Highland mountain, a body burns. All that's left behind are the victim's teeth and a fragment of silk. Meanwhile, in the hidden room of a house in Edinburgh, a second woman screams into the darkness. It's DI Luke Kalanick's first day with Police Scotland. He's handed a homicide investigation. With everything to prove, he and his new colleague DI Ava Turner are up against a killer who meticulously covers his tracks. When a third woman is taken, Kalanick is desperate to prevent another innocent death. But the real fate of these women is more twisted than he could ever have imagined. I love that kind of dark, twisted, thriller type thing. So that I have got Shadow and Bone. This is the Grisha Book 1 by Leigh Bardugo. I've never read any Leigh Bardugo, and obviously I know these books are well beloved and well known on BookTube, so it's probably time that I joined in, so I have that one. So I'm not going to read the back because you probably all know about it anyway. So I've got the Father Brown books here by G.K. Chesterton, and these are all Penguin editions. So I've got The Secret of Father Brown. You can just see the way these are absolutely stunning. And Father Brown, there's a series on the BBC that's on in the daytime all about Father Brown that I actually really enjoy watching, although I do have to watch it in the evening because, you know, work. I've also got The Incredulity of Father Brown, The Wisdom of Father Brown, Innocence of Father Brown, and The Scandal of Father Brown. More cosy crime books, and I'll probably say this completely wrong. Ngayo Marsh. These are all detective novels from, I'm not sure when they were written, I think they might have been written in the 50s. Got Death at the Bar, Overture to Death, Death in a White Tie, A Surfeit of Lampreys. Aren't they a kind of fish or a shellfish? Oh no, they might well be shellfish. I don't know, I'm going to have to look that up, but apparently the lampreys are a couple, a family. Death and the Dancing Footman, Artists in Crime, and Colour Scheme. Definitely got enough cosy crime to keep me going for quite a while. This is the Dale's Detective series by Julia Chapman, and this is Date with Death, Murder's No Cup of Tea. And it says on the back, a charming new series for fans of Alexander McCall Smith and Midsummer Murders, so that's perfect for me. And it's Samson O'Brien has been dismissed from the police force and returns to his home of Bruncliffe in the Yorkshire Dales. Oh, Yorkshire Dales, cosy crime, say no more. And he sets up the Dales Detective Agency where he fights to clear his name. However, the people of Bruncliffe aren't welcoming the man they see as trouble. And now I've got a stash of Jacqueline Winspear novels, and these are the Maisie Dobbs mystery books. Again, cosy crime, and the first one is just called Maisie Dobbs. That's that one. And again, on the front it says the British counterpart to Alexander McCall Smith's #1 Ladies Detective Agency. Birds of a Feather, The Mapping of Love and Death, A Lesson in Secrets. See, look at the woman there. She's got gloves, a handbag and a hat. Why do we not dress like that anymore? Elegy for Eddie. Look, there's a man with a horse and cart. Still a few more to go in this second box. I've got some classics here. I've got Decline and Fall by Evelyn Waugh. I bought this actually because there's been a BBC dramatisation of it that was on a while back, and obviously I'd like to watch that, but the rule is you've got to read the book first. I've never read any Evelyn Waugh before. Sent down from Oxford in outrageous circumstances, Paul Pennyfeather is oddly unsurprised to find himself qualifying for the position of schoolmaster at Clanarba Castle. His colleagues are an assortment of misfits, rascals and fools, including Prendy, who's plagued by doubts, and Captain Grimes, who is always in the soup or just plain drunk. Then Sports Day arrives, and with it the delectable Margot floating on a scented breeze. As the farce unfolds and the young run riot, no one is safe, least of all Paul. And then also the BBC have just recently done an adaptation of Howard's End by E.M. Forster. So I've got the Penguin English Library edition of that, which again is beautiful, and that again, it'll be my first E.M. Forster. Only Connect is the idea at the heart of this book, a heartbreaking and provocative tale of three families at the beginning of the 20th century. The rich Wilcoxes, the gentle idealistic Schlegels, and the lower middle class Basts. As the Schlegel sisters, desperately try to help the Basts and educate the close-minded Wilcoxes, the families are drawn together in love, lies and death. And then we're back up to date again. So we've got the newest book by Owen Ivy, and this is To the Bright Edge of the World. Owen Ivy wrote The Snow Child, which was magical realism and very beautiful, set in Alaska. Again, this is also set in Alaska, and I love books that are set in places like that. In winter 1885, Lieutenant Colonel Alan Forrester accepts a mission of a lifetime to navigate Alaska's Wolverine River. It's a journey that promises to open up a land shrouded in mystery, but there's no telling what awaits Alan and his small band of men. Alan leaves behind his young wife Sophie, newly pregnant, with the child he had never expected to have. Sophie would have loved nothing more than to carve a path through the wilderness alongside Alan. What she does not anticipate is that their year apart will demand every ounce of courage of her as it does of her husband. And this is Sealskin by Sue Bristow. Donald is a young fisherman, eking out a lonely living on the west coast of Scotland. So again, I love books set in remote places. My favourite sort of place for a book is an island. I love books set on islands. One night he witnesses something miraculous and makes a terrible mistake. His action changes lives, not only his own, but those of his family and the entire tightly knit community in which they live. Can he ever atone for the wrong he has done? And can love grow when its foundation is on violence? And I've just found 3 books by Laurie R. King, writes the Mary Russell books, who it's basically, they're all about when Sherlock Holmes has retired and he becomes a beekeeper, and this sort of young protege, Mary Russell, who works with him and solves crimes. And this is A Letter of Mary, A Monstrous Regiment of Women, and The Beekeeper's Apprentice, which I think is the first one. So this is a book that Eleanor bought me for my birthday. I think it was for my birthday, and it could have been for my October or November shelf slam, I'm not entirely sure. But this is Warcross by Marie Lu. I know this is an incredibly popular book at the minute, so I'm not going to go into any details about it. It's a YA sci-fi fantasy book, I think, and I've heard great things about it. And again, I found another cosy crime book, and this is a Dandy Gilver murder mystery, and this is After the Armistice Ball. And obviously, I mean, again, she just looks amazing with her hat and her outfit and her Dalmatian. All these books seem to be set, you know, sort of like the 20s, 30s, 40s. A gripping murder mystery set in Scotland in the aftermath of World War I. All my favourite things. To socialite Dandy Gilver, a spot of amateur sleuthing seems like harmless fun, and what could be better than to try to track down the Duffy diamonds stolen from a country house after the Armistice Ball. Before long, though, Dandy's innocent pastime is swept aside by something much more serious. The untimely death of lovely Cara Duffy in a seaside cottage is recorded as an accident, but Dandy and Alec, Cara's fiancé, feel sure the Duffy family is hiding a dark secret. Well, obviously, of course they are. Next, I've got 3 books by Rumer Golden. I think these were all written in the 50s. The classic Black Narcissus. This is a really famous film that stars Deborah Kerr, and I think I've seen it years ago, but I can't remember much about it. But I know it's about nuns. So high in the Himalayas, the old mountaintop palace shines like a jewel. Built for the general's harem, laughter and music once floated out over the gorge, but now it sits abandoned, windswept and haunting. The general's son bestows the place to the Sisters of Mary, and the House of Women, as it once known, becomes the Convent of Saint Faith. Close to the heavens, the nuns feel inspired, working fervently to establish their school and hospital. But the isolation and emptiness of the mountain become increasingly unsettling, and passions long repressed emerge with tragic consequences. Got Kingfishers Catch Fire. Sophie, an English ingenue with 2 children, arrives in a Himalayan Kashmir to set up home in a tumble-down cottage surrounded by fields of flowers and herbs. Settling down to live quietly, frugally and peacefully with her new neighbours, she is unaware of the turmoil her arrival provokes in the villagers compete fiercely for her patronage. Sophie's cook makes a drastic bid to secure his position, and the unwanted consequences are catastrophic. And the final one I've got is Breakfast with the Nicoledes. It looks like it's set in India, and it just says, for Emily Poole, India is a magical country. Her days are spent exploring the canals and the gardens of East Bengal and observing her glamorous, dignified neighbours, the Nicoledes. But just as the cracks in Emily's family home are papered over, so do the Pooles strive to maintain an outward appearance of respectability. and it is through the Nicoledes that Emily is exposed to the world of adult deceit and attrition. Then when her beloved dog dies, the event forces a confrontation and reveals to Emily that nothing in the town is quite as it seems. Then I've just got the last 4 in this box, which seems to have held quite a lot of books, but it ain't over yet. Again, Cozy Crimes, and these are Kate Shackleton mysteries by Frances Brodie. This is Dying in the Wool, so this looks like it's set in a mill town. And we've got A Medal for Murder, and again, look at the outfits the ladies are wearing on the cover. They're just gorgeous, the clothes are amazing. A Woman Unknown, those beautiful outfits. And then the final one, which, please, you know, as our fellow booktubers, please just, you know, you may gasp when you see the title of this book. Death of an Avid Reader. That seriously hits home with us. So that is all one box. So yeah, I'm going to put these away and then I will crack on and film another box of haulage.